Well, and
Yeah.
I think what's happened, and to Logan's point, this killing for many people have taken the abstraction, the warnings that we have offered. I mean, I've been talking about this for years now, about how we are degrading and devolving as a society, how we're headed for a train wreck. It took that out of abstraction and put it into a concrete image because people could see it. And one gentleman said, I'm on the left, but when I see these people celebrate, I realize it's not just the shooter and it's not just Charlie Kirk, because Kirk was gunned down for the same ideas that my family expresses, that my parents express, that my loved ones, that my neighbor tells me of, that my cousins or my siblings hold. And I realize that those people who are celebrating want them dead too, because they're
Yeah.
saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And now I get it.
I,
Now I get it. And
I,
I think that's fair that, some of this needs to happen. I think it's also, and this is why I've never been a fan of cancel culture. However, what's been happening is that I think there are certain actions that cross specific social boundaries. For example, I believe that the smash and grab looters need to be taken out and have a punishment befit them that is greater than what you would normally give a standard shoplifter, because what they're doing is through their actions and through their success, they're encouraging others. Take any pro-Palestinian uh, blocking the freeway with traffic. Those people shouldn't be let out on a misdemeanor charge of trespassing on freeways. What they're doing is something indifferent. The intent is to disrupt society, and they need to have a harsher punishment. So while people who celebrate Charlie Kirk, and I realized this. I read an article where the guy's saying, look, one of the problems in social media is that any thought that pops into your head, you can now spill out across the country and have millions read it. It used to be, a guy would cut you off. Yeah, I'd hate that guy. I want to kill him. Or
yeah.
I'd really like to take a sniper to my boss, right? We always have these thoughts internally, but this internal dialogue normally stayed internal. After social
Right.
media shows up, now everybody expresses it openly. And so, should we hold these people accountable for those expressions, even though we all have them? And my thought is, yes, I think we need to, because what it does is it normalizes that ideology. Oh, so many people are thinking this way. It's okay for me to not merely think this way, but to now act on it, or to now grow it, or to fester it, right? To develop it. And so while I'm not a big cancel culture guy, and I don't think because you hold a political view on this side of the aisle or on that side of the aisle, that should cause you to lose your job. There's something about celebrating death specifically that should be so egregious societally that you say, we don't want to associate with you anymore. And I see that is the only way that those people would actually pull back and maybe keep their private thoughts private. I don't know any other effective way to get that message across, that it's that socially egregious.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hard topic. I think we'd have to think and do that, man, another episode on that. Because, it's like, I don't know, like, I mean, I could think of situations where like maybe somebody snipes an actual dictator, right? And then, you may not
Oh, I cheered
celebrate.
when Osama bin
Yeah.
Laden was taken out.
Yeah, right. I mean, but so there are, I mean, and then one worries about obviously probably the main thing, not the main thing. I don't know if it's the main thing, but certainly one thing that he clearly died for was free speech. So, I mean, but yeah, you're right. At the same time, there is a boundary line at some point where, and it might depend on what office or role or function a particular person is fulfilling, whether or not, there'd have to be investigation case by case into, you know, but yeah, I mean, I would think like Babylon Bee put up a Not the Bee article where they listed off just several tweets that that people had posted after Charlie's death, very just egregious ones. And like school teacher in Oklahoma, principal of a school here. And like, obviously, I mean, I think that those people should get fired. I mean, there's got to be some consequences for
this
actions.
isn't what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, it's not just a free speech question. Like when Lenny had said, like, oh, of course I celebrated when Osama bin Laden was killed. It's like, and the assumption of that is, because he was like a clearly evil person who did clearly evil things. But when you see people doing that to Charlie, like that's the same belief structure. Oh, of course, it was like a clearly evil person doing clearly evil things. And we're looking at someone who's like a clearly good person, clearly doing good things. And that goes back to the point that I'm saying is like, we're at a point where if the right doesn't do something, and I think the Trump administration, based off how their higher officials have at least been messaging, you had Rubio basically say, foreigners who celebrate the assassination are not welcome in this country. Give us their information, we'll revoke their visas, we'll deport them. Seeing how Vance responded, seeing how Trump basically connected this assassination with his attempted assassination, and that the leftist ideology must be dismantled. And he expanded it to the attacks upon our judicial system, upon our law enforcement. The Trump administration, at least it seems like by their messaging, they're grappling with this idea of like, if there is not a significant enough response, a proportional response to the crime that was committed and supported morally by a vast number of people, what happens to the right's political structures? Because those will collapse when there's a clear moral conviction that does not end with some form of real consequence. Right now, it's a little bit more vigilante in the sense they're just using sort of the free market of ideas and saying, hey, business owner A, or business owner B, look at what your employees are doing. Do you agree? And they're firing them. And that's been sort of like appeasing the interest at this moment, because there is a great moral transgression and there should be consequences for like gross moral misbehavior. The question is what kind of official action is that going to look like? And I think that's what a lot of people are really trying to like figure out. And if that's sort of the, obviously pray for Charlie and his family and TPUSA and all of those. But the big, I guess the administrative prayer is the wisdom to know we do need to respond proportionally. Right. And I don't know, and the left does, I think, know that there will be a response, and I think they're afraid it will be proportional. I think it would be wise for it to be proportional. The caution, of course, is it becomes disproportional. Right. It needs to be legal and to the full force of law.